What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, the ITP Paladin. I just realized my mic wasn't on for like 2 recordings, so let's get it right this time. So I wanted to make a very quick video. I got my daughter with me going back and forth between the living room and here, and I just thought I'd make a quick video, kind of like a follow-up to my aim guide extension, because as I mentioned prior, the developers over at Overwatch, Blizz, Activision, whatever, I don't care at this point, I'm very tired. A bunch of them have been making these changes that were going to be, basically mixed up. There was no solid setting. Like, they're always going to be changing something that they feel is going to make everything a little bit easier for their player base. But they came out with some settings, and I wanted to quickly cover them and what I did, just so that way everybody understands, recommendations, and I've been commented on this one. So, first and foremost, you'll see that my settings have changed drastically since maybe like my first aim guide video, because I realized I'm an idiot. I took some, first and foremost, I'll quickly reiterate on something. My aim guide is not a, oh, you must use my settings in order to be successful. No. The purpose of my video was so that you understood every setting, what it did, and how it can help you improve your aim where you see fit and necessary. If you were having problems controlling your character, you know what to fix now. If you had problems with being able to keep your reticle on the hero and you find it yourself struggling to hit them with your hero, you now know what setting to touch and not touch the other ones that have absolutely nothing to do with it. So you'll see that my settings for all heroes are just set to this because it's kind of like a base. It's weird, but this is just for all the roster. So every hero would get something different and specific. Like, for instance, I'm Soldier 76. He is my most played hero, so I don't know why, but my aim assist window size went from 100 to 70, and I found it easier to track for some reason. My accuracy's been pretty decent. I don't know why that changed it, but aim assist ease in went from 50 to 100. And sometimes that'll fluctuate based on the hero, but I've been finding it that I've been able to track my targets easier. And even still, I think the aim assist window size is what's causing me to have some decently bad aim from time to time. But that's just something I noted. So people were asking me for my settings and recommendations. I'll be 100% honest. I'm not a guru. Where'd you get your toothpaste? Tell me you didn't go into the bathroom again. I love my daughter. She's never-ending entertainment. She might join me for this video. But as I was mentioning before, I don't have recommended settings for just any hero. Like, everything I'm still experimenting with, but I kind of got my inspiration from, for anybody who's heard of him, one of the top Xbox console Overwatch players called Hopeful, spelt with a C instead of an O. I got an inspiration to just try something out. I also reverted, and I'm going to scroll down for this one because it's for all heroes as well. I reverted back to Deadzone because I found, I did linear ramp because it was a 1-for-1 as far as you moved your stick is as fast as you went across all speed lengths. But then I realized, you could probably just make your life easier by sticking Deadzone? Question mark? And question mark has actually indeed been confirmed. Don't touch the mouse. Don't touch anything! I love this girl. She's just squeezing her way in here, and I gotta be careful with her feet. But another thing I wanted to quickly know, because this is part of the reason I'm making this video anyway, they finally introduced Deadzones. Now, if only they will introduce... Wrong bumper. Now, if only they'll introduce a field of view slider. That would just make all of our days, right? But no, instead console players are just kind of stuck with that and their aim assist that everybody thinks is aimbot. Stupid. Honestly stupid. Careful, sweetie. So anyway, getting back into the purpose of this video, so just to kind of go over real quick, also one thing that they do that's annoying me is that when I want to change hero and I click all heroes, it unbinds my crouch button when I go back, so I really wish that they would fix that, but whatever. So just an overall, before I even cover dead zones, I'm going to go down to it, and I'm going to go down. Horizontal sensitivity and vertical sensitivity. So I kind of went back to what I did before, which was, oh, hey, the sensitivities need to be different so that, you don't really need vertical too much unless your hero is especially taxing on that. Hey. messing with one of my posters. So you can kind of mess with that if you want to run it 70, like for my setting 75-75. Entirely up to you. There's some heroes that can benefit from having equal vertical and horizontal sensitivities, but most of the time you might just need to worry about this. The vertical sensitivity can be a little lower. It helps you actually even your horizontal aiming and keeps your character from constantly shooting up and down. I'm still experimenting with it. I think I want to go lower. I'll let you know how that goes in another video because I haven't experimented with it yet. I'm trying something different. Aim assist strength, always keep that at 100. Never put it any lower unless there's a particular reason why you need to put it lower, in which case we can debate on that. There's not really any solid example I can think of. The window size I just put at 100 for base because I don't know what heroes I'm playing and I don't know how it affects each individual hero until I play them and see what the window size is like. But I got the inspiration again from Hopeful because that's how he gets his prime aim, and he's one of the best console players, and if you actually watch his gameplay, he's pretty good. But it's also mechanical, so it's not just pure software settings or even the hardware, which is now an elite controller for him. But he was just using a shitbox like standard controller for his gameplay previously. But it's also mechanics. He's experienced in it and he knows what he's doing. Aim assist legacy mode. So I kind of tampered with that a little bit, and I found out the reason it's a little different. So I don't remember exactly how I phrased it, and I'm not ever going to quote verbatim unless I actually went back, so just note that this is not what I said, but kind of what I alluded to in my settings video. Aim assist legacy mode, I didn't touch on that too heavily, but I realized that basically it's aim assist ease-in on steroids, because in the previous game, you didn't have aim assist ease-in, if I remember correctly. They only had the aim assist strength and window size, and then they had smoothing and aim ease-in. As far as I know, they didn't have aim assist ease-in. That was a more recent setting. So when you are now able to tamper with it, you can turn off the legacy mode, being the old settings, and now adjust it to your liking. But aim assist legacy mode basically puts it back to the old game settings, and if you have that in adjacent to aim assist ease-in, it'll basically it'll mess with your settings real bad. But as I was mentioning before, aim assist ease-in, self-explanatory, controls the acceleration in and out of the bubble for the aim assist window. So it kind of helps you ease in and basically helps dampen your acceleration to or away from the target that you're intending to hit. But I put that on 50. In fact, actually, here's something funny. If you default all the settings, that actually starts off at 50. That is a good baseline for everybody, and I would recommend at least putting it there to see like if it benefits you to put it all the way up, mid, or low, or just not on at all. Completely up to you. Aim smoothing. So I keep that at 99. And I normally had that lower because you want sharper turns, but remember that the whole point of the macro aim is that you want to be able to have control over your character. So you don't want to just be turning so rapidly that all of a sudden you lose focus on the entire gameplay. So keeping it at 99 was a good dampening for me, and sometimes I'll adjust that to 70 based on heroes like, I think Konzo, if I recall correctly. Let's see. No. Who did I adjust it on? Ash? Now it's going to bug me if I don't find out who I did it on. Not Widow, right? No. Well, now everybody's basically seeing my settings. You can pause the video at any point. I'll figure it out. The point is that the concept's there. Sometimes you can adjust the smoothing. But I also have noticed that you could just adjust the aim ease-in, and it keeps everything in pretty good lines. So give or take wherever you go. And then something I definitely did different that you probably noticed was aim ease-in. So aim ease-in is a very fickle thing. As I was mentioning before, the easiest way that I could have described it is that it helped you in a kind. It's basically like the dead zones, is now that I have a better terminology for it. It's basically dead zoning your corners, so that way it helps your horizontal or vertical movement be more precise. So that way when you go up on a corner a little bit, it doesn't just take you diagonal, it helps you kind of keep in line with going up and down. Now, that's not totally bad, and I always recommended keeping it on a low setting, but I found recently that not only is it helping me track better to have it somewhat higher, but it's also helping me get better critical accuracy. And that's key because I was noticing that when I had it all the way off, my critical accuracy was basically lower than 5%, and by turning it to 25%, consistently it's been closer to 10. So I nearly doubled it by just having it somewhat on. I still wouldn't recommend putting it too high because when I experimented, it basically thwarted my aim. As a whole, it did nothing to improve it. But just keep in mind that it's a setting that you should definitely keep an eye on and take a look at. Alright, now we're going to go on to the whole purpose of this video, which is the dead zones. So, I'm not going to go through the setting in this video, but I am going to tell you what you do. Hey, you. She's messing with the Christmas tree, too. Why do you have your toothpaste again? Don't do that. I love this girl. Anyway, so Deadzone. So, here's the thing that was kind of getting me. I was like, I wasn't going to touch it, and I wasn't going to do it, and I still technically don't understand what the add feature is. I guess it's basically a mixture of override and disabled, where the game automatically sets it, but now you can add to it. I don't know. I don't know what they mean by add. So unfortunately, I can't give you much information on that until there's further explanation from, I guess, a developer or something. I don't know. But they basically put this out there, and they didn't even talk about it. So override just means that now you put your settings in, as far as I know. Or at least that's what I would figure. So how I found my Deadzone settings. So I'll quickly remedy this by saying I didn't touch the outer dead zones, but it's pretty obvious what outer dead zones really do. It just means that instead of having to put your stick all the way to the end where it can literally no longer physically go, you could put it like mid, like if you put it half, you could go midway on your outer turn radius, and it'll hit max. So it basically reduces the range in which you have to move your stick to hit the dead zone. So your outer dead zone, I don't really see that as necessary. To touch, maybe, and this is just assuming, you can probably lower it to like 90 or 80 if you really need to. But I wouldn't touch that too much as comparison to the inner dead zone, which that would help out. So if you have stick drift, anybody who plays Call of Duty might find this useful too, or maybe they might already know, so this is just assuming you don't. But how I determined my inner dead zone, which is, by the way, when your stick is idle and untouched, that's the dead zone. Where's the center? So I found that for my left stick, keeping that 15 was prime. But they also defaulted for the right stick at 15.15, and basically at that point I was like, let me experiment with this. So when experimenting, I found that my stick stops drifting on the right stick when it goes up to 0.10. 110. Hi there. She's just looking bored out of her mind. I gotta finish this up. So, really the only way you find it is you go into the practice range, you tune your center by putting it to 0, and you just look for drift. You just look for drift, or you look for movement in your character if you're doing your left stick, or if you swap them up. I don't know how you play the game, but if you swap them and the movement's on the right stick and the turning is on your left stick, you're a sick son of a bitch. I'll just say that right now. Joking, of course, but let's be honest with each other. That's a pretty weird setting to swap movement and aim, but to find your dead zone, you just put it to 0, you look for drift, and then you just up-tune it until there's no more drift, and then you can kind of work your way down a little bit if you want to get precise tuning, but you're looking for the moment that you stop drifting or you stop moving without touching the sticks, and that's pretty much your dead zone minimum right there. And then left stick custom, the outside, again, you can kind of turn that down to maybe 90 if you really wanted to. I'm going to experiment with that a little later, but outer zone doesn't really matter because you have the limit on your thumbstick naturally anyway, so there's just no point to it. So, yeah. Other than that, there's not really anything else for me to cover. I do have other settings from like the interface, communication, the spectates, and replays. I don't really want to go over that though for right now. I don't have the time, but there's not really a lot to go on. But I will quickly cover not really two things, but let me, where is it? Is it career profile? So, two things. Number one, I went down in rank. I went from Plat 2 to Plat 3. kind of a low end for me. But I have this replay code, and I'm going to share the replay for a minute because it's a very short replay. But essentially speaking, I had this match, and I'm going to use this on my VOD review over on live stream, so definitely look for that link in my video. But this isn't a prime example of not giving up even though everything is against you. So you're going to see me get like a 4K here because I just popped my ult. And my daughter's now watching the thing going on. Ow! She's getting impatient. I'll drop the video now. But that's number one. I dropped rank. And number two, I have a VOD review for you guys and then we do the stream. So, if you get this video, drop by on live stream. As far as I know, you don't have to create an account to view my channel, but I would appreciate the following there because that is where I'm going to primarily be doing my streaming. And it's actually a pretty cool site where the creator is extremely transparent and answers questions. He gets back to you quickly, and heck, he's even the one that answers all the problems. So live space is definitely a place that you want to just quickly check out if you have the time. But I'm going to call it here, and I will see you guys later on this evening. I'm just going to be doing some VOD reviews. Last thing I will mention before I go, I am working on a specialty project on 2 different areas. One of them is going to be a surprise for my YouTube videos, and it may or may not involve an editor that I happened upon. The wonders of just asking. And then number 2 is that I basically have some new overlays that I'm working on, both for here and for another project I've been wanting to do for a long time, so be on the lookout for that. It's finally gaining weight, and I'm working on it to make sure that it's not overbearing is the point. So let me know what your thoughts are below. I will see you guys hopefully on stream, but if I don't, I'll catch you in the next video. You guys have a good one.